Finding New Opportunities. My name is Alexandra Baer, and I'm joined by my colleagues on our client development team, Brett Eaglestein and Katie Fabiani, as well as my colleague on the marketing team, Chelsea Briggs. Today's webinar will last around 20 minutes, and then we'll have Q&A at the end. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to enter them into the chat box on the right side of your screen. This webinar is the second of a four-part series where we're discussing how to best leverage the core features of the RelSci platform. Today we will do a deep dive into the Power Search tool, and our next webinar will be on August 6th, and we'll focus on how to best leverage profiles in the database, as well as how to set up your 360 alerts. So please mark your calendars for that. So for those of you that have not had a chance to use Power Search yet, the Power Search tool basically allows you to query the RelSci database of over 3.5 million people and the 1 million organizations associated with them, so that you can identify potential donors, board members, or organizations that fit a select set of criteria in RelSci. You can use Power Search whenever you're trying to create a new list of people or organizations. It allows you to quickly be able to discover people or organizations you never realized you have access to. You can discover people who support a specific cause, a specific candidate, who went to a particular school, live in a certain geography, and many other pieces of information. So now I'm actually going to go into the tool, and I'm going to show you the tool. So in order to get to Power Search, you'll go to your right-hand toolbar, and you're going to click Power Search right here. So within Power Search, there are two tabs. There's the People tab and the Organizations tab. So whenever you're trying to create a list of people within RelSci, you'll want to go to the People tab. And then whenever you're trying to create a list of organizations, you'll want to go to the Organizations tab. So if you're looking for corporate sponsors, then you'll want to go to the Organizations tab, and you can find potential corporate sponsors through that tab. I'm going to quickly go through each of the tabs so you can see the type of information that we collect on people, and therefore you're able to search for them. So this first tab right here is the basics. If you want to look for a particular keyword, you can enter that in here, particular name. If you have lists created, and I'll go into lists in more detail in a second, but if you have pre-created lists that live over here, they'll appear in this drop-down, and you can enter in a list here if you want to search for people that are on that list. If you want to find people that are in a specific location, you can go here. You can look at people by state, by city. I'll just show you right here. So if I just want to look at New York, you can see all the different options of places within New York. You can get pretty specific if you want to. And then down to the next section, career and board. So if you're looking for, let's say, board members at they're currently at a company, you can do that from this section. You want to look at people that are in a specific industry or a particular type of company. So if you only want to look at people that are at, let's say, public companies, you can do that here. Next section down is education. If you're looking for people who attended a specific school, that received a specific degree, that graduated between one time and another time, you can do that here. And then for investments and holdings, here you can search for individuals who have invested in certain companies, or you can find if they own public shares in certain companies. And then advisors and consultants. This is where you can search for individuals who are advisors or consultants to a certain person, company, or industry. The clients module. Here you can search for clients of a person, a company, who are from a certain list or from a certain industry. And then donations, this is where you can find individuals that have donated to a certain organization or cause, and you can see how large the donation was, and you can also enter in when the donation was made. And then for membership, you can search for individuals that are members of a certain organization, and you can select what role they play and the duration of their membership. And the last section is just personal information. So here you can search for individuals with certain interests, what hometown they're from, how old they are, as well as political party affiliation. So for example, if you're planning an event and let's say it's like a golfing event, you can type in golf right here and find people within RelSci who have some type of interest in golf. Now I'm going to go through the Organizations tab. So for organizations, so the basics section, here you can enter a keyword, a name of a company, an organization's location or industry, or search for organizations that appear on a list. So let's say you have a list of organizations. It's a pretty big list, and you want to be able to search within that list. You can select the list right there. The next section is metrics. So if you're looking for a corporate sponsor that has a certain number of employees or a certain amount of revenue, you can go to this metrics section and find those types of companies there. For investment, here you can search for organizations that have invested in a certain company or industry. For advisors and consultants, here you can search for advising and consulting companies that have worked with certain individuals or companies. Clients, here you can search for organizations that are clients of a certain company, individual, or are clients to individual or company on a certain list. And then last one is donations. Here you can search for organizations that have donated to a certain organization or cause, the amount of the donation, and where the donation took place. So this could be interesting if your nonprofit supports a certain cause and you want to look for organizations out there that have donated to other causes out there like yours. So now I'm going to refresh this, and I'm going to run through a couple examples of how we've seen our nonprofit and higher ed clients use Power Search. So the first example I'm going to go through is if you're trying to find a new board member for your organization. Say your organization is looking to find new board members located in New York City with a strong connection to the clothing and textiles industry. You can run a search in Power Search to create a list of individuals that fit this criteria. So the first thing I'm going to do here is type in New York City. So what this will basically do now is look for people that are located in New York. And you can see right here next to basics, it's putting in the criteria that I've entered in here. So if I entered in more criteria, it would show right there. And then I want to find board members that are current, that are involved in the clothing and textiles industry. So what this search is basically going to do is find people located in New York who are currently board members at companies that are tagged as clothing and textiles. And once I've entered in the criteria that I want for my search, I'll just hit search, and my results will appear down here. And what this is basically doing is looking across the entire RelSci database for all the people that match this criteria that I just entered. So I have 526 results. And basically what this does is it puts a relationship lens, and there's 4 different lenses that we put on it. And basically this first lens is there are 526 people within RelSci who fit the criteria of the search that I just did. And I can go through this list and see all the different people that fit it. I can see where they work and what boards they're part of. And so this is basically showing you this is why, this little section beneath the person's name and title is basically showing you why they fit the criteria in your search. And then over here on the right side is basically showing you how you're able to get to them. So the great thing about these different lenses we put on is basically we're showing you there are 526 people in RelSci that fit this criteria, and these are the different ways that you're able to get to these people. So this is all the results, and then you're able to slice it and dice it a little further. So if I want to see within the people that I have tagged in my profile that I know, there's one person that fits this criteria. So this one's really easy for me because since I know this person, I can easily go to this person and see if they're interested in joining my board. And then many of you have created what we call relationship web. You basically have gotten the relationships of your board members, your happy donors, maybe your executive director, put into your account so you're able to leverage that person's relationship. That's what this would be. This would basically be the list of people. So there's 31 people that are part of that 526 who I'm connected to through a colleague. So I can basically see Eric, I'm connected to him through my colleague Rachel. And so it's as easy as me going to Rachel, seeing if she can introduce me to Eric. And again, you can see why Eric fits the criteria. And the last lens that we put on here is the extended lens. And what this is basically doing is showing you there's 215 people who maybe I don't have a direct connection to, my colleagues don't have a direct connection to, but someone that I know is connected to that person in some shape or form. So let's go down to this example of Frank. So I've said I know Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett is connected to Frank. And if I want to go in and see the details on that, it basically takes me straight into Pathfinder, where I can see through the people that I know how we're able to get to Frank. And if you missed our last webinar on Pathfinder, feel free to let us know, and we can send you the recording of that, and that'll go through a deep dive of how you actually use Pathfinder. So now I'm going to go through another example. So let's say you're looking for individuals to donate to your organization's cause. So let's say your nonprofit focuses its fundraising efforts on cancer research, and you're looking to find new potential donors in the state of Massachusetts to help your cause. So what you would do in that case is you would say, okay, I'm going to look for people in Massachusetts. And for this example, you're actually going to go to the donation section, and you're going to type in your cause here, so cancer research. And what this is basically showing you now is that there's 67 people that are in RelSci who are in Massachusetts and have donated to a cause tagged under cancer research. So you can see this first example. He's in Boston, Massachusetts, and he's donated to the National Foundation for Cancer Research. And so you can go down and see all these different people who have donated. And again, you can see on this side how you have access to them. And then again, we put these different lenses on it. So there are 48 people in my extended network that I can potentially gain access to. So I'm going to show you another thing that you're able to do with the results. So you can sort your results. So if you want to sort it by name, it automatically defaults to the rank. And then you have RelSci relationships, and then you have role. So those are just a couple ways that you can sort the results that you get. You can also save them to a list. And so many of you have already created lists in your account. So you might have a list of current donors. You might have a list of your prospective donors. You might have a list of organizations that you're trying to get in front of. You might have a list of your board members. You can create new lists when you run a search. So let's say I want to create this list. So it's Mass Cancer Research Donors. I'm going to save that list. And then you can also run a report. And so basically when you run a report, this basically allows you to be able to save it as a CSV file or a PDF. And this is great if you want to be able to save it, email it to people, bring it to a meeting, and be able to go through it at a later point. One thing that we're going to be coming out with in the next few weeks is a reporting center. And this will basically save all the reports that you run and allow you to be able to go in and rerun those reports to see when new people have been added to your list that you've created. So now that I've saved this list, these 67 people, I'm going to quickly show you what people tend to do once they've saved a list. We'll actually go into Pathfinder and basically say, okay, so I created a list of people that have given to like causes of mine that are in the region that I'm looking at. And basically what this is going to That's just a quick example of that. I'm going to show you one more example in Power Search. So if you're at a, let's say, higher ed institution and you're trying to create a list of alumni to target for your university's donations, you can do that in here as well. So let's say you're fundraising for your school. And you want to look for people that graduated after a certain year. So I'm going to look at Harvard. I'm going to look for people that have graduated after 1975. So you can see right here that this is populating the criteria that I just put in here. So attended Harvard University and 1975 and up. That can just help guide you to make sure that you're inputting the right criteria. So now I'm finding there are almost 3,000 people that are in RelSci that fit this criteria. And again, I have all my different relationship lenses on here, so I can be able. So I'm quickly able to discover how I'm able to get to these people that are on that fit this criteria I'm looking for. So one more thing that I want to show you, and it's a little different from what we were just looking at, but you can do in Power Search as well, is basically many of you have created lists, like I said, and these lists might be really big lists of people, and you basically want to be able to further narrow down that list. And you can do that within Power Search. So if you're trying to look for target, if you have created a list of your target donors, and you want to be able to see on that list who's located in, let's say, Los Angeles. Let's say one of your fundraisers is going to be going to LA, and you want to be able to see who on this list that you have is located in LA now. You can do that through here. And basically what this is now doing is this is looking within your list that you have, not necessarily throughout the entire database. It has to be people that are on that list, who's in LA. And now you can see there are 93 people that are on that list that I have that are located in LA. And again, you can see the details beneath it. So those are a couple examples that I wanted to show you today. There are many other ways that we've seen our nonprofit and higher ed clients use the tool. And I now want to flip this over to Q&A. Feel free to continue to ask any questions that you have, and we can definitely show you any examples that you might want us to show you. And I'm going to flip this over to Chelsea.
Sure. So the first question we have is, does your cause have to be in the drop-down, or can we use it as a text field?
That's a great question. The causes are actually based off the NTEE codes of different organizations we've profiled throughout the database. If you were to do, let's say here, go into the organization tab and type keyword cancer research, literacy, what have you, that would actually scan for the company's about section from their website.
Okay, great. Next question. If I have a great relationship with someone who is very well connected, how do I leverage their contacts to help my business?
Sure, that's a great question. So the idea would be you would come into RelSci and you would look up that person. And so I'll just use a quick example here, such as Warren Buffett. And you can type in his name here at the top of the screen and pull up his profile. And if you go down to the relationship summary section and open this up, and so let's say Warren is a huge supporter of your cause, or he is an alum of your school, what you can do is you can actually save his relationships here. So these, again, are the people that we think he may have some level of access to. So I can just call these Warren's relationships. And then what I can do with that is that's now a list of mine over in this list section. And a number of things. I can go into the Pathfinder tool, as Alexander was showing earlier, and run paths to some of those people. But more interesting is in this Power Search tool, let's say Warren is, going to throw us a fundraiser or something like that. I can come in here, and in this Appears on List drop-down, I can pull up Warren's relationships. And now I can further narrow this down for certain criteria. So Warren's going to throw us a fundraiser, but it's going to be in New York, or it's going to be in Chicago, or we're only interested in inviting people in a certain industry. And I can further narrow down the people he may know based on what type of fundraiser I'm throwing.
Great, thanks so much. Okay, so the next one we have is, what are the sources for the hometown database in the individual search? Can you broaden the search by home state?
That's a great question. So the sources, there's not one particular source that we use to gather that information. It comes from all the different sources we have in our system. And just to remind you, we buy data from third parties such as FactSet, LexisNexis, NOSA, Frequent, GuideStar, iWave. We go through Ks, Qs, news releases, press releases, SEC filing, 990s. We even go to company websites. So well over thousands upon thousands of different sources. And instead of doing it by city, of course, you can do it by state. So if you actually scroll up to the top, I'll just refresh the power search screen. People and location, you can just type in New York, and you'll see that state will appear.
Great, and then a follow-up question to that. For hometown searches, can you search multiple locations or single locations only?
You can. So just sort of piggybacking off of that, if I wanted to search the tri-state area, I could type in Connecticut in this drop-down as well, and New Jersey, and add those states here in addition. And actually what you're seeing, and to be sort of guided here during my search, is that that's actually an or search, not an and search. Okay, I think that that's all the questions we're going to go through today. If you asked a question that we weren't able to get to, we will follow up with you by email or phone and answer your question. I just want to close this up with saying thank you to everyone for attending. If you have any additional questions that come to mind, or if you want to try to do a certain search or get creative with it, definitely feel free to reach out to your account management team or to our client support team, and we're more than happy to help you with Power Search. And if you have any questions about uploading lists as well or creating lists, we can help you with that too. As I mentioned at the beginning of the call, our next webinar will be on August 6th, and an invitation will be going out for that soon. And we'll also send a recording of this webinar to you as well today or tomorrow. Hope everyone has a great day.